The bell above the diner door rang softly, but no one noticed, because all eyes were already locked on the waitress who stood frozen near table 7, her hands trembling, a tray slipping slightly in her grip, while a rich couple stared at her like she was something scraped off the bottom of their designer shoes. Lena had learned long ago how to smile through humiliation. She had learned it the day her father died and the world stopped caring how hard you tried. Tonight, she forced that smile again, even as the woman in pearls waved a manicured finger in her face and said, loud enough for the whole diner to hear, "Do you people not train your staff at all? This coffee tastes like dirt." "I'm sorry, ma'am," Lena said quietly. "I can replace it right away." The man across from her leaned back, smirking, gold watch glinting under the lights. "Replace it? We've already wasted 10 minutes here. Time is money, sweetheart. Something you wouldn't understand." A few customers shifted uncomfortably. Others looked away. No one spoke up. They never did. The diner was old, one of those places that smelled like grease, coffee, and memories. It sat alone on a long stretch of highway, surviving on truckers, late-night workers, and people who had nowhere else to go. Lena had been working double shifts for months, saving every dollar to keep her younger brother in school and the electricity on at home. The woman scoffed. "Honestly, I don't know why places like this even exist. If you can't afford decent staff, you shouldn't be open." The words cut deeper than Lena expected. She nodded, turning to leave, when the man added, "And don't bother with the tip. Service like this doesn't deserve it." Something cracked inside her, but before it could break completely, the diner door opened again. This time, the bell rang louder. The room seemed to inhale all at once. A man walked in, tall and broad-shouldered, leather jacket worn and scarred like it had lived 1,000 lives. A silver chain hung at his neck, and his beard was streaked with gray. Behind him followed 6 bikers, boots heavy, faces unreadable. Their presence filled the diner like a sudden storm. The rich man snorted under his breath. "Great, just what this dump needs." The biker leader stopped. Slowly, he turned his head toward table 7. His eyes were calm, sharp, and strangely tired. "Is there a problem here?" he asked. Lena felt her heart pound. She had seen bikers before. Most people feared them, but something about this man's voice, steady, controlled, made her feel oddly safe. The woman laughed nervously. "No problem at all. We're just dealing with poor service." The biker glanced at Lena, noticing the way she clutched the tray, the way her shoulders were hunched as if expecting another blow. Then he looked back at the couple. "Funny," he said, "from where I'm standing, looks like you're the ones causing trouble." The man stood abruptly. "Listen, buddy, we don't want any issues. We're paying customers. So is everyone else here," the biker replied, stepping closer. The diner went silent. Difference is, most folks know how to treat people. The owner of the diner, an old man named Frank, came out from the kitchen, hands shaking. "It's okay," he said quickly. "Let's all just calm down." The biker raised a hand. "Frank, right?" Frank blinked. "Why yeah, you still make that chicken fried steak the way your wife taught you?" The biker asked. Frank's eyes widened. "How do you?" "Because 20 years ago," the biker said, "this place fed me when I had nothing. You didn't ask who I was. You just gave me a plate and told me to keep going." The biker turned back to the couple. "And this young lady," he gestured toward Lena, "she's doing her job. You don't like the coffee, you ask for another. You don't humiliate her to feel important." The woman crossed her arms. "This is ridiculous. Are you threatening us?" The biker smiled faintly. "No, I'm reminding you." One of the bikers behind him stepped forward, placing a heavy hand on the counter. "Boss, maybe they'd like to eat somewhere else." The man swallowed hard. He glanced around and realized something. No one was on his side. Not the customers, not the owner, not even his wife anymore, whose face had gone pale. "Fine," he muttered. "We're leaving." They stood, chairs scraping loudly, and stormed toward the door. Just before exiting, the biker leader spoke again. "You forgot something." The man turned. "What?" The biker nodded toward the table. "The tip." For a moment, it looked like the man might argue. Then he reached into his wallet, pulled out a wad of cash, and slammed it on the table. They left without another word. The bell rang again. The diner exhaled. Lena felt tears burn her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. The biker shook his head. "You don't need to thank me. You didn't do anything wrong." He took a seat at the counter with his crew. "Coffee, and whatever's hot." As Lena poured the coffee, her hands steadied. For the first time that night, She felt seen. They learned later that the biker's name was Marcus. He was the leader of a local motorcycle club that many people misunderstood. Yes, they rode loud bikes and looked intimidating, but they also protected their own, helped stranded motorists, and raised money for sick kids and struggling families. Over the next weeks, Marcus and his crew became regulars. They tipped well. They joked with Frank. They treated Lena like a human being. One night, Marcus noticed Lena studying from an old textbook during her break. "School?" he asked. "Nursing," she said. "I had to pause. Money got tight." Marcus nodded slowly. "Don't let the world stop you." A month later, Lena received an envelope at the diner. Inside was a scholarship fund, anonymous, but she knew. Frank knew too. He just smiled and wiped his eyes with his apron. Years passed. Lena became a nurse. She worked long nights, just like she once had at the diner, but now she was saving lives instead of refilling coffee cups. One winter evening, an injured biker was rushed into the ER after an accident. When Lena walked into the room, she recognized the familiar tired eyes. "Marcus," she said softly. He smiled weakly. "Looks like you made it." She squeezed his hand. "Because someone reminded me I mattered." Marcus recovered. The diner stayed open. Frank eventually retired, proud that his little place had been part of so many stories. And somewhere along a long, empty highway, a bell still rang above a diner door, reminding anyone who entered that kindness, no matter how small, can change the direction of a life. Because you never know who's watching, who's hurting, or who might walk in next and change everything. Never judge people by their status, appearance, or job. Kindness and respect cost nothing, but arrogance and cruelty can destroy dignity, and sometimes invite unexpected consequences. True power lies in standing up for others, because one moment of compassion can change a life forever.